On page 78 of the Online Administration Manual, you're going to find the instructions for Timing Code 1, Standard Time in a Single Sitting. Administer the English test, Standard Time, Timing Code 1. Do not continue until you have completed the verbal instructions from the beginning. See all timings begin here on page 73. All tests must be completed in a single sitting. Number 1, when everyone is ready, say, your computer will keep the official time for your examination. There will be a countdown timer located in the top right corner of your screen that will tell you the time remaining for the test you're working on. When 5 minutes remain on each test, a message will appear on your screen to serve as a warning before time is up. When time runs out, you must submit your test according to the instructions on your screen. If you finish before time is up and you have reviewed your answers, you may submit your test early. Once you submit your test, you will not be able to return to it. If you finish early, sit quietly. You may not read or engage in any other activity that could distract others still testing. It is to your advantage to answer every question. Do you have any questions? Number 2, address questions, then say. Listen carefully. You may use your student authorization ticket as scratch paper. If you need additional scratch paper, raise your hand. Write your name and today's date at the top of each sheet. Do not share your scratch paper with anyone. I will collect your ticket and all scratch paper before you are dismissed. Number 3, continue by saying, you should be on the screen that says English. Read the section directions and look up when you are finished. Number 4, say, you have 45 minutes to work on the English test. When I provide the seal code, enter it, and then select the Start button. This will start the timer on your computer. If you have any difficulties entering your seal code, raise your hand. Number 5, on your administrator computer, look up the seal code for English, then say, the seal code for English is, and then you may enter it now. All right, so while students are working on the English test, you need to do the following. The first bullet, verify that all examinees were able to start the test. The second bullet, complete your seating diagram. So the seating diagram for the online test looks like this. Let's see. This is it right here. So here's the seating diagram. So here's the instructions. Complete blocks 1 through 4 during testing. So here's block 1, here's block 2, here's block 3, and then this is block 4. The second bullet. In block 4, sketch the room setup and enter the name of each examinee to indicate the workstation where he or she is seated. Show the direction examinees are facing, any partition, dividers, and walls. Make sure you are doing bullet 2 exactly as it says. Sketch the room setup and enter the name of each examinee to indicate the workstation where he or she is seated. You must show the direction examinees are facing, any partition, dividers, and walls. Notice right here it says, see the administration manual for acceptable seating arrangements. So let's look at that page so you'll know what is acceptable and not acceptable. Your test coordinator should have already set this up for you. So this is on page 15. So they give you examples of seating arrangement examples for online testing. So on the left side you have acceptable arrangements, and on the right side these are unacceptable. All right, so notice the acceptable. There's an example without dividers, carrels, or partitions. Then if you do have with dividers, carries, or partitions, this is what it looks like. And then U-shape, this is what it looks like. So if you compare that to the unacceptable, so if you look at this example here, they're all facing each other without the carrows. See how that each examinees face each other without dividers, carrows, or partition. They cannot face each other. So the table spacing below, you can have them in tables, so they're facing the same direction, 3 feet minimum. So look at the diagram. So that's 6-foot tables. This is 8-foot tables. This is tables with more than 9 feet. You can have 3 students at a table. This is table under 6 feet. And then the round table, you can only have 1 person at a round table. All right. So, and then for the unacceptable, look at the one that says examinees are too close together and an adequate aisle space. So notice these 2 examples. So remember, 3 feet minimum from shoulder to shoulder. All right, so these are examples of unacceptable. All right, so make sure you're in a room that is acceptable. Again, your test coordinator is responsible for making sure the rooms are acceptable for seating arrangements. All right, so that was the bullet on completing your seating diagram. The third bullet says move around the room to monitor for prohibited behavior. This is important. You must move around the room. Fourth bullet, monitor examinee progress on your administrative computer. If it seems an examinee is not progressing or is on the same item number for a long time, check with the examinee to make sure there are no computer problems. All right, so that last bullet where it asks you to monitor examinee progress on your administrative computer, your test coordinator will have shown you how to do that during trainings. So let me just remind you how to do that though. So you're going to go to PA Next, and after you've walked around and you come back to your computer, you're going to click on refresh, because right now you see it's still gray, right? So students are working on it. So when you click refresh right here, click refresh, it's still turning. Let's see, there we go. Notice it's active. So it's now green, so it's active. So what you can do is on the word active right here, for this student, that first student, the word active, click on the word active, and then let's go ahead and expand this where you see those 2 arrows, and then you'll see where the student is. So notice that this first student, and remember section 2 is English, so the students on section 2, they've answered the first 5 items, and so that's where they're at. Okay, and then it has the timestamp when they submitted that answer. So if we go back, let me go ahead and X out at this one. And by the way, if you stay on that student, it won't update unless you refresh. So keep refreshing to update. It doesn't update automatically. You have to refresh. So your test coordinator mentioned that in your trainings. This is just a reminder. So if I go to the other student, so let's look at the other student. So when I click on that other student and I expand it, notice we can tell on that on the English test, which is section 2, the student skipped some items. All right, so this is where you can tell where students are throughout the test. All right, so, and then the timestamps are here. All right, and then again, remember, it doesn't update automatically. You have to refresh to update. Okay, so that was the bullet right here. All right, number 7. When time has expired, proceed to administer the mathematics test, standard time, timing code 1. So let's look at the mathematics test. All right, administer the mathematics test, standard time, timing code 1. Number 1, say, you should be on the screen that says mathematics. Read the section directions and look up when you're finished. Number 2, continue by saying, all problems on the mathematics test can be solved without a calculator. However, you are allowed to use a calculator in this test and may get it out now. Or you may use the online calculator available in the test. You are responsible for knowing if your calculator is permitted. If you use a prohibited calculator, you will be dismissed and your test will not be scored. Do not share your calculator with another examinee. Do not connect your calculator in any way to the computer. If you need to use your backup calculator, raise your hand. You may have only one calculator on your desk or in operation at a time. If your calculator has games or other functions, you may not use them during the test. Keep your calculator flat on your desk. Are there any questions? Number 3, address questions, then continue by saying, you have 60 minutes to work on the mathematics test. When I provide the seal code, enter it and then select the Start button. This will start the timer on your computer. If you have any difficulties entering your seal code, raise your hand. Number 4, on your administrative computer, look up the seal code for mathematics, then say, the seal code for mathematics is, and then you may enter it now and begin. All right, on page 80, and number 5, they tell you what you should be doing during the math test. All right, so you should be doing the following. The first bullet, verify all examinees were able to start the test. Second, move around the room to monitor for prohibited behavior. And the third bullet, refer to the ACT calculator policy and check all calculators periodically throughout testing. Dismiss any examinee who uses a prohibited calculator. They will not be allowed to take any other test. Fourth bullet, monitor examinee progress on your administrative computer. If it seems an examinee is not progressing, check with the examinee to make sure there are no computer problems. And then number 6, when time has expired, proceed to administer the break. Standard time, timing code 1. All right, so the students will get about a 10 to 15 minute break. It's actually 15 minutes right here. All right, so continue by saying, leave the reading test on your computer screen. Do not log out or attempt to access any other applications. So remember, when they completed the math test, it goes directly to the reading, which is the third test. Put your calculator away. You are not permitted to use it for the remaining test. You will now have a 15-minute break. Test will resume at, and then say the time 15 minutes from now. If you return late, you will not be allowed to make up lost time. Remember, you will be dismissed if you access phones or other electronic devices during the break. Watches must remain in the test room during break, but should be removed from the desk and put away. Your student authorization ticket and scratch paper may not be removed from this room, and you may not discuss or share test content. You may not eat or drink anything in the test room. Please be quiet in the halls. And then in parentheses, you're going to give directions and locations of restrooms and drinking fountains. Announce any rules about leaving the building, avoiding restricted areas, etc. Then on number 2, while the student's on break, this is what you should be doing. Monitor for cell phone and electronic device usage. Dismiss any examinees observed accessing a device. Make sure no student authorization tickets or scratch paper are taken out of the room. Do not leave the test room unattended. If any examinees remain in the room, monitor them closely. Ensure that no examinees have mistakenly logged out of TestNav, so status will show as exited. If they have, resume the examinee's test in Pearson Access. So here's an example of a student that exited. So what they're saying is that if the student, when they went to break, exited, So if they logged out of TestNav, it will say exited. All you need to do is go right here to the drop-down arrow and then click on resume. All right, and then it says resumed. So you do not have to do a irregularity on this. So if the student logged out, just go ahead and click resumed, and then the student will be able to get back to the reading test. All right, so that was bullet number 4. All right, then the next one, monitor hallway activity or ask a proctor to assist with this. As examinees return from break, make sure they are seated at the same computers they left. So refer to the seating diagram if this helps you. Do not delay the start of Test 3 waiting for examinees who return late from break. If examinees return late, they may be readmitted but cannot make up lost time. Keep conversations with late arrivals to a minimum. If an examinee does not return, collect and secure the examinee's test materials and log the examinee out of TestNav. Submit an irregularity report. See examinees who leave and do not return on page 64. All right, so remember they're going to log out of TestNav, which means it will be exited. But in this case, you do have to do an irregularity report because the examinee left and did not return. All right, so make sure you're looking at page 64 for this. All right, we're on page 81. So number 3, at the end of break, say, please get ready to resume testing. Desks must be clear of everything except your pencils, eraser, student authorization ticket, scratch paper, and watch if applicable. Number 4, proceed to administer the reading test, standard time, timing code 1. All right, so reading test. Number 1, say, you should be on the screen that says reading. Read the section directions and look up when you are finished. Number 2, continue by saying, you have 35 minutes to work on the reading test. When I provide the seal code, enter it and then select the start button. This will start the timer on your computer. If you have any difficulties entering your seal code, raise your hand. Number 3, on your administrative computer, look up the seal code for the reading, then say, the seal code for reading is, you may enter it now and begin. Number 4, so during the reading test, you need to do the following. You need to verify that all examinees were able to start the test. You need to move around the room to monitor for prohibited behavior. You need to monitor examinee's progress on your administrative computer. If it seems an examinee is not progressing, check with the examinee to make sure there are no computer problems. And number 5, when time has expired, proceed to administer the science test, standard time, timing code 1. Okay, so now you're ready to administer the science test, which is the last test. So number 1, say, you should be on the screen that says science. Read the section directions and look up when you are finished. Number 2, read the appropriate instruction below. Remember, we're on writing. We're on no writing, so no writing. You have 35 minutes to work on the science test. Once you submit your test, you'll be logged out of TestNav. All right, so on that 4th test, remember we're doing no writing. So on that 4th test, when they finish the test, it will automatically log them out. All right, so that's the first bullet. All right, so remember we do no writing. All right, let's go to the next. Number 3, continue by saying, when I provide the seal code, enter it and then select the start button. This will start the timer on your computer. If you have any difficulties entering the seal code, raise your hand. And then on your administrative computer, look up the seal code for science and then say, the seal code for science is, and then you may enter it now and begin. All right, so while the students are doing the science test, you need to be doing the following. Verify all examinees were able to start the test. Move around the room to monitor for prohibited behavior, and then monitor examinee progress on your administrative computer. If it seems an examinee is not progressing, check with the examinee to make sure there are no computer problems. Number 6, when time has expired, follow the appropriate steps. So remember, we're doing no writing. So since we're doing no writing, it says this. Proceed to end the last test and dismiss examinees. Standard time, timing code 1. All right, so this is going to be on page 84. All right, 84. All right, so end testing and dismiss examinees. Standard time, timing code 1. When examinees submit the last test, they are automatically logged out of TestNav. Examinee test status will be completed. So you'll see completed when you look at the examinee test status. Check with the help of proctors to make sure that each examinee screen says sign out complete. Note, the last test for ACT, no writing, is a science test. All right, so we don't do writing. So remember, it's a science test. Second bullet, all examinees must be logged out of TestNav before examinees can be dismissed. Number 2, when you're certain that all examinees are logged out of TestNav, continue by saying, attention, I will now collect your student authorization ticket and scratch paper. They will be picked up individually. Do not pass them in. Please remain quietly in your seat until I give you further instructions. Remember, you may not access your cell phone or any electronic devices until you leave the test site. All right, so you're going to move around. Number 3, you're going to move around and collect a student authorization ticket and scratch paper from each examinee. Do not allow examinees to handle the tickets or scratch paper of other examinees. Keep each examinee's scratch paper and student authorization ticket together with the examinee's ticket on top of the scratch paper. Do not collect tickets and scratch paper in separate stacks. This is important. I'm going to say it again. Keep each examinee's scratch paper and student authorization ticket together with the examinee's ticket on top of the scratch paper. Do not collect tickets and scratch paper in separate stacks. All right, and then number 4, count to be sure you have a ticket for every examinee and have accounted for all scratch paper, matching multiple sheets to the examinee if necessary. Do not dismiss any examinee until you have verified that the number of student authorization tickets collected equals the number distributed. Number 5, after all tickets and scratch paper have been collected, say one of the following. Okay, so we're going to do no writing. If you created a MyACT account and entered your student code, you will receive an email when your scores are posted to your account. If you have not yet created your account and entered your student code, you have 2 days to complete this process. Your score report will be mailed in approximately 3 to 8 weeks. Remember, discussing or sharing test content or answers is prohibited, including on social media. Be sure you have all your belongings. Please be quiet in the halls. You are dismissed. And then number 6, you're going to go into PA Next and you're going to stop the session in PA Next and return all materials to the test coordinator. So you're going to go here, see that little stop session button, you're going to click on it, and when you click on it, this in progress will be stopped. So it'll look something like this. So here's an example where it was stopped. So notice it'll say completed right here, or marked complete if you had to mark a test complete. So it will say either completed or marked complete. Then when you stopped it, you see it, the little red right here, it'll say stopped, and notice the little session for each of the students. It's a red circle. All right, and then it'll say restart right here, but don't touch that at all. All right, and so that's it. That is, and we follow the directions, so you're good to go. If you have any questions, make sure you ask your test coordinator.